Hi and welcome to Afternoon Equality. My name is Christy and today I'm talking to Brittany Elamparo, who is the creator and Coven Mother of Kindred Coven. Kindred Coven is a community of inclusiveness and intersectionality. They hold events and they have online collaborations and things like that, built on the idea of informing and educating, and also, self-care and improvement, aimed towards women and people who identify with like the femme gender identities. We're going to have a great conversation about compassion and allyship, or as being accomplices for change, I think is the term that I'm learning now. Yeah, so I'm excited to have this conversation, and let's do it.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
I'm
So
happy to be here. Thanks for having
yeah,
me.
happy New Year and happy. I think we just had a full moon, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Very
It's
fun.
like it's kind of your time to shine.
Yeah, so I'm not like super obsessive about moon phases, but they're a really fun kind of reminder of, I guess, like the symbolism that comes with the moon in different phases, especially when you're trying to do like self-improvement or
Yeah.
focus on different aspects of your life and channel that through the symbolism of the moon. So
Yeah, right. Okay. So, well, I mean, like the moon and and just all that like witchcraft stuff and whatever. I think like I love what you do with that for Kindred Coven, and how you kind of use that to, I guess, like spread the love, spread joy, like things like that. And I think I just love the tie-in, because I think it's like people are magical, and it's nice to have reminders of like magic, even if it's not like crazy dark magic, like, because it's not like even magic isn't all like that. It's just
yeah, and
yeah,
everybody's
it's
interpretation of what magic is so different person to person. So even though
true.
I may be telling you my experience with it and about Kindred Coven, it's going to be different for everyone. So I can't speak on behalf of all like magical practitioners or witches
Yeah, for sure.
like that.
Yeah, no, totally understandable. But I guess like the whole point of Kindred Coven, or like what I understand it to be, is like it's meant to be really inclusive, and especially like for the like people who identify as intersectional. And intersectionality is something that I feel like, when we're talking about allyship, or my roommate actually started using this term accomplice for change
Yes.
instead of an ally, because like it's become more about not just like listening, but also become like action, and
Yes. Yeah. Compass
actually
is
like
a way more
thinking.
active version
Yeah,
of ally. I like that
yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly. So, but going back to the idea of intersectionality, um I think like using Kindred Coven as a platform to help with that, I think, is really valuable. And it makes it really valuable to have like as a resource, and as like a place for people to go. But from just like from my experience, when we talk about intersectionality within these groups, it's usually more of an afterthought that's added to a larger conversation about like another marginalized group, and it's never really fair. So why was it important for you to create this community, this thing that included and like focused on intersectionality and inclusiveness, in that, for those people?
Yeah, I feel like the past few years, and especially 2020, with the rise of Black Lives Matter protest and all the other kind of social justice issues, it kind of became trendy to care. But with that and with trendiness, or really profitability, you don't really see genuine or authentic interest or action behind
Mm-hmm.
this so-called value of inclusion. And I just was, I mean, we started this in 2019, October 2019. So that was before the big protests. And, I've always cared about this stuff and had longed to create a community like this outside of the workbergs or business employee resource groups, for anyone who may not know that terminology. But um, yeah, I just feel like this past year, it's great to see more people interested in wanting to bring equity to everyone. But I just felt like, especially with the big corporations, it was just kind of like It was shallow. It was more, like I said before, a capitalization or cannibalization of their claimed value of inclusion. It was more tokenism than anything. So I just
It's very performative.
performative, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, that really turned me off. And I really just wanted to create a community and a platform to educate people of all walks of life. Not saying that I'm the master educator, that's where I pull in people from different communities and experts on different issues to help raise awareness about them. I'm just the facilitator. But I really wanted to create somewhere like a hub where, you know, whether it's just somebody who has nothing to do with DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion in their work life or whatever, or someone who's doing it professionally, just somewhere where people can rely on to pick up helpful tips and hear uh, diverse points of views and just really equip themselves to collaborate respectfully across cultures and whatnot. And well, that's more just for the inclusion aspect of the community, but we also focus a lot on, you know, self-improvement and empowerment and channeling your inner magic and extending the magic of that power to the rest of the world through philanthropy and events and initiatives and stuff like that. So yeah, if you have any other questions about that, I'm happy to answer, but it's kind of my long-winded response.
No, I love that. I mean, going off of what you just said, what exactly are the like what are the events that you hold for the community, and how do you use magic to promote this experience and spread this message of inclusion and education and informing and things like that?
Yeah, well, there's so many different directions I want to go with that. But I guess I'll start with some examples so that when I kind of elaborate on things more esoterically, you have something to kind of anchor you and understand that with. So obviously we can't do this anymore for the time being because of COVID. But I was before the pandemic, we were getting together in person 1 or 2 times a month. It started honestly with maybe 5 of us and then grew into like 20 something. And then right as we were considering, you know, like renting out a space and like really expanding, then the pandemic hit. So we weren't able to do that. But when we could get together, we were having brunch, we were picking a topic of discussion to kind of unpack with each other really vulnerably and just enrich our lives and our perspectives and way of living together as a community, as a collective. And then as for the magic, I would kind of, I've always loved poetry and just language arts, I guess. So yeah, I've been writing poems since I was a kid. And when you apply that to like witchcraft or magic, you know, those translate as spells. So I would just kind of like pick my intention for that meeting and kind of write a fun little spell for us to recite and do in tandem with a ritual. And so like, let's see. Oh, well, we just wrapped up January. So last January, what we did vision boards, and we all brought supplies and magazines and stuff to share, and talked about our dreams and intentions for that year. And then after that, we I don't know if you're familiar with butterfly tea, but yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's basically this flower that when you make a tea, it looks dark blue or indigo, and then as soon as you add an acid like lemon or something, it'll magically transform it to purple. And so I got like little shot glasses for everyone and put water and this mixture of the butterfly tea extract in there, and we recited this poem or spell together and really like meditated on our intention for transformation. And then, you know, after we did that, we squeezed our little lemon in there, or the juice, and then symbolically we saw it, like I said, turn from indigo to purple, and it's a really special experience. I'm all about aesthetic as well, and the art, so I put some like edible sparkles in there and everything.
Oh,
And yeah, it looked like a potion. We called it a potion. So that's kind of
it sounds perfectly magical.
yeah. Also, I just realized my battery's low, so let me
Oh no.
grab this. Should be set. I just wanted to wrap up that answer before it decided to power down.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thank you for catching that. I'd hate to lose you now.
So I think there was another half to that question. I may have not touched on. Do you want to remind me if so?
Well, no, that pretty much covered it. We can always come back to it. I kind of want to circle back to the idea of about the intersectionality and the inclusiveness and how you sort of started building this community for it. Because you mentioned in one of our earlier conversations how when you started throwing support behind more intersectional groups, especially like the Black trans community, people were asking you, they were questioning your intentions. And so I wanted to sort of like touch on that and clear up, you know, why is it that you feel so strongly about helping these other people? Because I mean, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have experiences that you're never going to experience yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, like, you know, you're throwing all your support behind them. So why do you feel so strongly about helping, you know, to raise these voices or to create this community for them?
Yeah, so I guess to put it in context, some of the common responses that I'll get when, you know, I'm having a conversation with someone and the advocacy work comes up or Kindred Coven comes up, people will be like, oh yeah, like almost like it's a novelty to care about trans people of color, and they'll ask me like, oh, are you trans yourself? Do you have a sibling that's trans? And of course, I'm never offended because there's nothing wrong with that. But I just always think it's ironic because the implication then is that you can't care about something if you don't understand it on a personal level, and that caring for something, or I guess the prerequisite for caring about something, is that you have to be it or you have to be really close to it. And that's just not true. And that's not how we progress forward as a society, especially when it comes to social justice. So, of course, just because you can't understand it first person doesn't mean you shouldn't try to understand it and empathize to the best of your ability. And of course, you're not going to just magically understand that without thinking about it. You have to go out of your way to talk to people who's lived those experiences and, you know, ask them, like, how can I support you? How can I amplify your voice instead of, you know, trying to be a savior or be performative, or otherwise inauthentic with your allyship.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just personally feel like everybody should choose an issue that doesn't actually have an effect on them directly and really throw their weight behind it and show their support. And for me personally, I just feel like trans women of color, especially, or trans femmes of color, just get the short end of the stick every time with every movement, even though they're at the forefront of these movements. Like if you look at the gay rights movement, the LGBTQIA2S plus uh, movement, you the people like Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson just get erased entirely from the narrative, even though they were leading it and they were risking their lives for it. And I just think that's wrong. Like, I look at all of these like historical, I don't know what you call them, like historical narrative movies, not documentaries, but
Like biopics or biopics. Yeah.
sure, yeah. And I didn't actually watch this one, but one that always just sticks with me is the previews that I saw for, I think it was called Stonewall, but it's about Stonewall riots, and it just basically looks like, you know, from the trailer and from just clicking through it, it just looks like it centers a bunch of white men And I'm not saying that white men didn't do their part to push that movement forward, but again, they were leaving out so many other individuals who also had an impact.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I specifically chose trans women or femmes of color, especially because that community is rather small compared to like just Black people or Filipino women. Like that demographic is just so small, and not that they need me because I'm a savior or anything like that, but they, you know, every movement can use support, and I wanted to be there.
Yeah. So let's go into that a little bit. What is that line between compassion and saviorism? Like
Mhm.
how do you show that you're compassionate, that you care without other people feeling like you're coming in to like, save them?
Yeah, I think the difference between saviorism and solidarity is who you are ultimately serving. And that really comes down to whether it's your own self righteousness and ego, or if it's the people that you are claiming to serve.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, with there's actually this this Ugandan organization called No White Saviors, very self-explanatory. And you know, if you go on their website, it says like right at the top, like we never said no white people, but
Yeah.
what we're asking is that you listen before you speak, you learn before you act, and you partner instead of leading when it comes to Black issues or African issues. And I think that's such a like short and sweet way of communicating what these communities are asking from other communities and other allies or accomplices um, in order to support them.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess to elaborate that a little bit further, like questions that you can ask yourself if you're like, am I being a savior or am I, you know, being in solidarity? Is your effort, or are you yourself reducing an entire group of people or community or culture down to just their issues or just their struggles? Are you reducing them to, you know, being uncivilized or morally inferior or in need of saving? Do you prioritize your intentions, your good intentions of like, oh, I want to help these people over the impact that you're actually making through your actions by maybe things like, you know, drowning out valuable voices from that community that have something to say with your own voice who doesn't have the perspective? Are you just adding to the noise without adding value? Or are you, like I said before, amplifying the existing voices within that community?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like that organization is asking, are you listening before you're speaking? Are you learning before you're acting? Are you partnering instead of leading?
Mm-hmm. No, that's so profound. How would you say you do that with Kindred Coven? Like, how do you promote those ideals? How do you listen before you act and those sorts of things? Like, how do you use this platform for Kindred Coven to do that?
Yeah, I think we really lean heavy on the partnering over leading. And of course, like I said earlier, I see myself like a facilitator. I would never say that I'm an expert on you know, the trans experience or the trans women or femmes of color's experience.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to uplift voices and tap into those existing resources and voices. Um,
Mhm.
so ways that we do that is by actually, you know, I'm not saying that the pandemic is a good thing at all, but if there's one silver lining that I've gotten out of it is that I've made a lot of internet friends for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
I am just like such an in-person gal. I like to I'm a horrible texter and caller. I'd rather just get together, and like obviously I can't do that. So with all this free time I've been having because of the pandemic, I've been tuning into Instagram lives with my favorite activists or advocates, um, some of which I'm, you know, actively engaging in the comments and conversing with both the people hosting those conversations and then people within the comments. And I'm like, oh wow, this person said that they do, you know, this work or that they're an artist or whatever, and you know, they are this diverse voice. like I want to know them, and like I want to help them, and I want to promote them with humbly with my platform that I do have. I'm not an influencer or anything like that, but I think that every effort to spread good is worth it. I don't think you need to have a million followers to make an impact on somebody's perspective or life, if you want to go that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of truly partnering and letting them kind of take the stage.
That's awesome. So, how do actually I want to touch on this first. You say like not just trans women, but you say trans femme. What is the difference?
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
You're talking about not just trans women, but you talk about like femme also. Like what is can you explain that difference between like just women and femme and like and what that means is in the terms of like intersectionality and what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah. So, um, I just to preface, I'm a cis woman. I identify with the sex or gender that I was assigned at birth. So I don't want to say that like I'm a spokesperson for that specific area of gender, not gender politics, but
Identity, yeah.
gender identity. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I can certainly, give your viewers a little bit of an idea based on my own research and talking to people. Um, there's you were asking what the difference between woman and femme is. So on the gender spectrum, not binary, you have the opposites. I think a lot of the way that we talk about gender is like, I don't know. I don't want to say outdated, but I think everybody has their own relationship to gender, right? So again, not trying to speak for anyone, but on one end you have masculine,
Mhm.
on the other end you have conventionally feminine.
Mhm.
Everyone kind of uh, lies somewhere on that, and in the middle you'll have like androgynous or
Yeah.
like gender neutral,
Yeah.
non-binary folks, and people like that. So when I say woman, we're talking about people who are on, you know, mostly this end of the spectrum, the feminine spectrum, like very feminine, that they identify with that woman or with that word woman fully.
Mhm.
And then when I say femme, there are also people who are like, I don't really quite identify with the word woman. I think I'm a little bit more flexible in my gender expression, or somewhere a little bit further towards masculine, but not quite man.
Mhm.
Um, so femme refers to any of that gray area between feminine and masculine,
Mhm.
leaning feminine. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. I like the reason I was asking is because like I was noticing like you're consciously making an effort to not just like say woman but also add in femme.
Yeah.
So like and that's something that I don't see a lot of people doing.
Mm-hmm.
But so like that's why I was asking because like like obviously it's something important to you and I just wanted to know more about why like
Yeah,
or how that came to be.
absolutely. Also, another fun tip is so, there's obviously debate about everything, but I've been conscientiously for the past couple of years making an effort to spell women with an X instead of an E,
Right.
because when a lot of people say women, and when I say a lot of people, I mean like bigots who don't believe that like trans women are women. They'll say, women with an E or the regular spelling, and not include those people, not include trans women or femmes. Um,
Mhm.
and so when you spell it with an X, you are kind of uh,
Acknowledging.
acknowledging, yes, the existence of trans women and welcoming them into your definition of what a woman is. And I think that's really nice because it doesn't take a lot of effort. And, you are doing something that's telling part of the feminine community, or all of the feminine community, like, I see you and I include you. And the same goes for men.
Mhm.
If you spell it with an X instead of an E, you're saying, hey, trans men, I include you.
Yeah.
And I think that's needed.
No, I think it's great, especially as like as you know, we're kind of evolving in this world where people are feeling, you know, they're feeling they're feeling I don't know, but like if safer is the word, or like they're just feeling more secure in expressing that part of themselves. And you know, really like putting it out there and like saying like, no, like this is how I identify, like,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think it's great to start like not just acknowledging them, but like learning how to acknowledge them.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, you know, it really does all kind of come back down to respect. It's like how do you most respect people if you don't, you know, make the effort to listen and figure out how it is you should respect them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But so Kindred Coven is they're like the community of inclusiveness is aimed at women and femmes, right?
Yeah, so while anyone is welcome to, tune in or engage with our content and learn with us, um, the initiatives and everything that we do are um, intended to serve uh, all women, femmes, non-binary folk,
Mm-hmm.
um, and even trans men who are comfortable in an environment where we're prioritizing the feminine experience. And when I say prioritizing, I don't mean that we don't care about men's issues or masculine issues. I'm just saying that this community is by and for um, women, femmes, non-binary people, and trans men who are comfortable, like I said, engaging with our dynamic and with our content through our specific lens. Um, so yeah, and then again, that's I won't drone on and on about it, but that is done because I am a woman. Our community includes those people, and we're the experts on ourselves. And yeah, all I can do is facilitate in that way. And the
Yeah.
intersectionalities and whatnot are typically underserved. So I just wanted to intentionally make space for those people.
I think that's great. So how do people find out about Kindred Coven? Are you having, you know, is there anything going on that you would like for people to engage with or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have an Instagram page. You can find that at Kindred Coven, and so that's spelled Kindred. Oops, I just knocked over my T. And then Coven, Coven. And we post there pretty regularly. And the type of content that you can find specifically on the Instagram page is like photos of our members, and the captions will have a little bit about them, or photos of our latest initiative, which happens to be these bath soaks here. They're the Goddess Within bath soaks. Shameless plug. We're donating proceeds from those to an organization called You Are Essential, which is created/founded by a wonderful activist by the name of Ashley Marie Preston, who also happens to be a Black trans woman. And that organization is all about providing COVID relief and eliminating housing insecurity and food insecurity for marginalized people specifically. Uh,
Uh,
yeah, so I thought that was really special, and I wanted to do my part to contribute in any small way that I could. And that was just through channeling my love for herbal wellness and health and luxury and bath therapy, and
yes.
my love for mythology and folklore and all things related to that. And so that's how Goddess Within was kind of born. And you can find those on our website, which also has lots of information about who we are and what we do. And that website's address is kindredcoven.com. And yeah, that's how you can find us. And then also you can kind of drop us a message if you have a collaboration idea, or there's a question that you have that we haven't answered on our website. I'm pretty good about checking my messages, and I'm happy to engage with anyone who's curious about the community.
That's amazing. I love that. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
yeah, this is great. Like it's so informative, and I think again, like it's this is a conversation I've been excited to have because I feel like it's something that not a lot of people talk about. And again, like it's not fair that it kind of gets pushed to the side because like yes, it's a small community, but like if we're not acknowledging and talking about it, then obviously we're not really doing our part.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Christy. It's
Yeah.
really been fun, and you're such a joy to talk to. And I love that you've created this series, and I'm looking forward to watching all your other conversations with your friends and your colleagues and other people that you find interesting.
Yeah. No, that's great. So thank you. I'll let you get back to the rest of your day. I know you're driving a little bit today, so
I've got a puppy to pet sit, but should we
yeah.
cheers before we say goodbye?
Yes, yes. Cheers. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Brittany for coming by and chatting with me today. I am definitely going to be going and checking out the Goddess Within bath sets that she was talking about. They just sound super luxurious, and I can't wait to learn more about what about the organization and everything that she's supporting with that. I encourage you all to do the same. Again, you can search at Kindred Coven on Instagram or kindredcoven.com. And thank you all for coming and joining me. I can't wait to sip with you again. Thanks.